Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to be playing Classical Pursuit, which, it assumes from the name that it's going to be a Sudoku that's entirely about classical Sudoku and no variant to it whatsoever. But that's not entirely true as we're going to take a look at the rules and the grid for today. Let's get right into it. Of course, just quick comment about the thumbnail. That's Sleuth playing the piano, that's the only key. Well, I can play some other instruments a little bit better, but piano would probably be the one that I would play. And yeah, I guess a scene that I would love to be in at some point in the future, but I'm nowhere near good enough to be in a player in such an orchestra. Let's get on with today's puzzle. So, like I said, it has the implication that it's a classical Sudoku, but clearly the fact that there are 0 digits on the grid certainly confirms that it's not going to be a classical Sudoku. So, Classic Pursuit by Dodomos. We've got standard rule apply, standard Sudoku rules apply. That means place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, in every column, that wasn't a column, that's a column, and in every 3x3 box. So that's classic Sudoku. Then we have the XV rule set. So cells that are connected by a V must sum up to 5. So if that was a 2, for example, this would have to be a 3. Cells that are connected by an X have to sum up to 10. If that was a 2, this would have to be an 8 to sum up to 10. One thing that Dodomos is being clear about here is not all X's or V's are given. So, what would be a better example? So the fact that this is a 7 without an X isn't a problem. This being an 8 without an X is not a problem. And it's kind of tough to show this, I guess, but 2 and a 3 in here. Obviously, there's a white Kropki dot. We'll come to that in a moment, but there is no V here, and that is not an issue either. Now, of course, we've got the Kropki pairs as well. So cells separated by a white dot must be consecutive. So, for example, if this was a 2, this would have to be 1 or 3 to make sure that it is consecutive with one another. And we also have black dots. So cells separated by a black dot, such as this one, have to be in a 1 to 2 ratio. If that was a 2, for example, this would have to be 1 or 4. And once again, not all dots are given. So this 2 here could have a 4 next to it. That is not a problem. This 3 could have a 6 next to it. That is, again, not a problem. That 4 could have a 5 next to it. No white dots, no black dots, no black dots. All absolutely fine under today's rule. So, if you want to pursue this classic, link will be in the description down below as usual for you to play along. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock, just make a note of the time, and get on with my own solve. You know, really sometimes I wish before I restart the clock is I have a look and actually try and understand what is going on. And really, there's not a lot that seems easy for me to latch onto. I mean, this is a 1-star difficulty rated puzzle, so I'm hoping it will play as one. So one thing I'm going to just quickly do is maybe color some of those V's. And the way I'm sort of coloring them differently is essentially if you think about 2 cells that make up a 5, the options are 1, 4 and 2, 3. I can always tell which ones are separate because if this is 1, 4, this would have to be 2, 3 because this cell sees both of them. So they're not going to be the same group. Just straight across, obviously, they're going to be the opposite color. That means this would have to be blue because, again, there's a green cell in here, so clearly can't be green. Sorry, can't be blue. You can see we've got two greens in rows 2 and 3, so this has to be green. There has to be another green somewhere in here to essentially have 2, and I'm not entirely sure about it. One thing that I can do fairly quickly is this is a 5. Essentially, remember, if the composition of 5s are 1, 4, and 2, 3, in box 3 I've used 1, 2, 3, and 4 between these 4 cells. So if I have anything that is going to be consecutive with 1, 2, 3, and 4, well, it's not from 1, 2, 3, or 4. It can only be 5. This can only be 4. This is 1. This is a 2, 3 pair. This is 1, 4. Now we know. And hopefully this will carry forward. We can do a bit better actually here. Clearly the 3 is not going to be connected with a black Kropki dot to 1 or 4. That's a 2. Doesn't help me resolve the 1, 4, but it does give me a 3 here, and it gives me a 3 there as well. And that means I need a 2 somewhere, but not on the white Kropki dot because 1 and 3 are not available. So the 2 would be restricted to one of these 2 cells in box 1. Now the challenge that I'm seeing is how do you connect sort of the progress that we made in here and some of the digits that we've already placed in the first couple of minutes to the rest of the grid, because vertically there is actually very little information. It's not like that any of these V's, any of these dominoes basically are vertical to help you color onwards. So what I'm tempted to do, and I don't know if this is the right path by the way, but what I'm tempted to do is to carry on my approach of coloring, just use different colors. So I'm going to use yellow and purple. And once again, I can tell that these two are clearly going to be different in the same row. This one is going to be yellow because it can see the purple cell. I may also start adding in some of the high digits that are clearly in place because of the X. So this is going to be a high digit. I'll color these red. Yellow, you can see, because I've got them done in rows 4 and 5. I need 2 in row 6 here in box 6. Now they can't both be here because this is one high digit to make a 10. So this is yellow, and then there is a yellow-red combo. This is red. You can see 2 yellows, 2 purples, so that is red. Sort of helpful. It would restrict it to essentially 3 or 4 and 6 or 8. You need to essentially use the higher of the 1, 2, 3, 4 sets to be able to get to a double that's a high digit. Obviously 1 and 2 would only get you to 2 or 4. So that's 3, 4. That would have to be 1, 2 to add up to 5. This would have to be 6, 7. There's too many options still. And we still don't have 4 low digits in anything to help us. 2 yellows means this is purple red. I've gone very quiet, I do realize. So I'm actually started looking at 5. So 5 in box 6 is actually quite restricted. So 5, not classic Sudoku, obviously none of these. They're already yellow or red. Can't be on a black Kropki dot. 2.5 doesn't work in Sudoku, and 10 is too big. And again, not here. So it's one of 2 cells, which again, continuing with classic Sudoku. So it's none of these. Can't ever be on an X because it implies if this is a 5, this would have to be a 5, and you're repeating it. And again, not on an X, so we can actually place some 5s. You can restrict some 5s. That's as far as we take it for now. Not brilliant. What are we doing for time? This really doesn't feel like a 1-star difficulty rated puzzle. So here's something. And again, this is really unusual logic now. This is not sure if it's the intended path. Think about these X's and that white Kropki dot. Now the X's by definition are going to be made up of a low digit, a high digit. And these two cells have to be relatively close to one another. You know, even if this is 6, as in the high digit, and even if this is the low digit, it'll be a 4, they clearly can't be connected with a white Kropki dot. So they have to be the same type. And because we already have 3 low digits in column 6, these both have to be high. And these two now are low. This one I can color, because essentially purple and yellow are different. So I need a different color that's opposite to green. It's blue. This one here is a bit trickier, because I don't know whether it's blue, yellow, purple, green. I know it's a low digit, but that's as far as I can take it at the moment. I know I haven't really used these black Kropki dots, so I may need to. So I appear to be really struggling with this one today. Maybe I'm just a bit tired, or it is actually quite a tough puzzle. So let's think about this cell, for example. Now, black Kropki dots, I can have a purple. I certainly can never have the same color. Just if you think about it, 1 and 4 are not in a 1-to-2 ratio, and 2 to 3 are not in a 1-to-2 ratio. But I can have something like 1 and 2, and the 2 could actually work with either cell. So if this is purple, it would, one of these would be 2. But it's not purple. Sleuth. Pay attention. I've got 4 already in column 7, so that is red, which means it's this 3, 4. And this is the same digit as well. This is 6, 8. Which means that this is 1, 2, 8, 9, because it's this yellow. And this is not 1. That's not 9. Better still, that can't be 2. If that's 2, that would, well, we've got 1 in here. That would have to be 3. And then what would be the white Kropki dot? That's not 2. That's not 8. That's not high. That's not yellow. 8, 9 are certainly not connected to a 5. We're getting a 5 in here. These are very hard-earned digits. This is now 7, 8, or 9. Essentially, what are all the possible adjacent cells in here? One thing about white Kropki dots is they're always going to be made up of 1 even digit and 1 odd digit, because nothing else can be consecutive. 2 odd digits are not going to be consecutive. 2 even digits are not going to be consecutive. The only available even digit in here is an 8, which gives me, this is excellent, 6, 3, 6, 3, 2, 2. And the reason I love this so much is finally we know that yellow is green, purple, what did I just do there? Yellow is green and purple is blue. And that helps immensely. That's 2, that's 3. I guess we know that these are 2, 3. If that's a 3, that would have to be a 6, which it isn't. So that's a 2, that's a 3. This would have to be blue from 1, 4. Sorry, I'm just going to pause a moment and I'll be right back. Sorry, pardon me, back again. Let me see if I can pick up where I actually continued here. Yeah, so look, I'm just gonna start writing in, penciling in a few things. All right, let's think about this. This is 1, 4. This would be 6, 9. That would have to be 7, 8. If it's 6, it's 7. If it's 9, it's 8. So therefore, this would be 2 or 3, and it would be a 2, because it can't be a 3. So that's green. That would have to be 8. That would have to be 9. That would have to be 1. 4, 1. What else do we know? This is not 1, 2, 3, or 4. So in this 10, this is not the low digit. It's a high digit, and it's not a 6. This is 7, 8, or 9. Can't be 9 because it can't be 1. So this is 7, 8. This will be 2, 3. It's not a 3 either. It's a 2. It's an 8. These two are 7, 9. These two are 6, 8, although we can resolve it because of this 8. So that's 6, 8. That's not a 7. That's an 8, 9 pair now. In fact, where does 7 go in box 6? It can only be in here, and this has to be 1. Not 1, 2, 4, or 8. This is a 3, 6 pair on this black Kropki dot. That's not 7. In fact, we just know what this is. This is 9. Thank you. This is 6, 7. Not 6. I've already got 6. 4, 7. That's better. What else do we know? Can I do a bit better in here? I mean, I can see that there's an 8. You know, even once you've sort of confirmed the colors, this puzzle is really not easing up. That 2 gives me an 8, a 9. The 2 and 3 means, well, we already knew it's 1, 4. It's not exactly helpful. I mean, I can see that that's not a 4 because it can't be a 6, and that's not a 1, it's not a 1. So if I think about options for a second, that's not a 4, that's not a 1, and therefore this is a 6 and this is a 9. That's the possibilities at the moment. That 3 in here is not a 2, that is the 4, that's 9, that's 1, that's 4, 1, no, 4, 1. We haven't actually, no, we do, yeah, that's 1, that's 4. I think we've at least solved all the V's, so that's at least progress there. We do know what these are. In fact, that 5 tells me what it is. That's the 5, that's the 8, that's the 9 for the finish, that's an 8. This we know is a 5, this is a 6, 7 pair. From the 2s that we had at the top, that's not the 2, that's the 2. This is 7, 8, 9. Because that can be a 6. We can't play the same odd even trick here. That's not necessarily an 8, because that can be a 6. Five, though. That's a 5. I'm sure we can do, yeah, that's a 5. And I think we can probably do all the 5s now. No. We've got a 5 X-Wing left to be done. We'll figure that out later. This X is not 1, 9 or 2, 8. And you can see it's not 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not the low digit. So 6, 7s are the option. And it can't be 6, 7 because that can't be a 4. So that's 3, that's 7. We know what this digit is. 6. Which gives me a 3, a 6. I'm sure we know what this is as well, or we can at least limit it. Again, not the low 1, not 1, 2, 3, or 4. This is a high digit. It's not 6, it's not 7, and it's not 9. It's 8. That's 2. That's 1 or 4. 9, you can see is not there. That's the 9. That's another 1, 4. So this is 1, 4, 7. 4, 7 gives me a 1, a 4, a 1, a 7, a 4. I think we pretty much got it from here. I mean, this I'm sure is still going to be helpful, so we'll see what that remaining variant clue is meant to help us with. But in here we need, I'm going to say 5, 6, and 4. 4s are there. 4, 6 is here. That's 6, that's 5, that's 5. Finishing this off, that's 7, that's 3. What help do we need in here? Done all the lows, we need 6, which can only be there. Hang on. Let's just think about it a bit more systematically. That's the 8, that's the 9. That is almost certainly the 6, but it's 6, 7. And both work surprisingly. That's another 6, 7 though, just completing row 3. Gives me a 6-7 pair. That's not a 7. That's got to be 8-9, surely. Yeah, because it can't be 6 or 7. That's a 7. That's a 6. And I think we're done. 8 gives me 9. 8. 9 gives me 7. And 9, if I've not made any mistakes. Lovely puzzle, dodomos. So, you know, it feels like it's on the verge between 1 star and 2 stars. I mean, if I solved it under 20 minutes, it is a 1-star difficulty rated. But at the same time, you know, that was hard work. Figuring out, you know, this block, how they interacted with this block, and trying to actually figure out the V's. That was a lot of trickery, and I think that was, yeah, it came down to these two. So fairly involved, but really well constructed. You know, fantastic puzzle, dodomos. Really enjoyed it. Hope that you guys enjoyed it too. And we do have many XV puzzles, so if you enjoyed this one, there are others I'm going to just put up on a playlist right now to recommend from YouTube. So bye-bye for now, and see you soon.